Shameless.
United in the Europa League. Europa League. We tell them one time and we say Europa League.
Omonia 2, Manchester United 3. United get a victory. A tough one in the Europa League. We got there in the end, Mina. What do you think about that?
I don't want to be too negative, so I'm going to start with the negatives. And I think defensively in transition, we just did not look great. We looked a bit all over the place. Both goals that we actually conceded came from like defensive transitions where it was individual errors. You see in the first one, Sancho played a bad pass to Malacia when he could have actually gone a bit further out. You know, when we had 8 players already upfield, he went to the last man. Malacia took a bad touch, intercepted, counter-attack. And then you see even when Malacia, Eriksen and Martinez are sprinting back, Malacia is with the man and puts a slide tackle in, and Eriksen comes across, and that just gives opportunity to their player Bruno to play a ball into Kareem, and that was just a bad goal. And then the second goal, it was Lindelof stepped out for a tackle. Eriksen and McTominay took long to get back. Martinez came across, ball came in, Luke Shaw came across, and it was just a great finish. Both goals were actually quality finishes. So that's one of the negatives, but we won. We got 3 points. You have to be happy with that. No matter, you know, if we get it by chance, you just have to accept that 3 points is 3 points. I think Rashford and Martial came on and they changed the game for us. Rashford looked like a glimpse of his old self.
Yeah.
Scored a goal. He could have maybe scored another. I don't know. I'm not happy with the performance, but I'll take it. There's just we could do better. We could do so much better.
We could do better. Talk to me about Cristiano Ronaldo. Not that that's a segue. We could do better, but talk to me about Cristiano Ronaldo because, again, he will dominate the topic of conversation after the game. People won't really be focusing on the result. They'll be focusing on his performance. What did you make of Ronaldo today? What do you think of the discussion surrounding him? Talk to me about CR7.
You know, there's like talk of him leaving it in January, and I think it might be best for both parties for them to part ways because Ronaldo is a striker. He scores. That's what we need a striker to do. I know in the City game people were saying, why didn't Ronaldo come on? And people were like, oh, he doesn't press. But in that game, our strikers weren't pressing, so there's an argument there to be had. Yeah. But in today's game, he could have had a hat-trick. Maybe even 4 goals. He looked very frustrated with himself, and I know that it's probably killing him as much as it's killing like Ronaldo fans and just Man United fans, because I think Man United fans want him to score, they want him to do well. We want our front three to flourish, whether it's Sancho playing, whether it's Rashford, Martial, Ronaldo, Anthony. We want them to score, get assists, and I think in today's game, where I think this was his first proper game where he's looked better than the last few games, because he was having chances on, like he hit the post from like 6 yards out. Any other time, Ronaldo is smashing that into the net. So I don't know. I'm not going to say his confidence is low because a player of his calibre, I don't think his confidence. Obviously, with the season that he had last season where he kind of carried us through the Champions League group stages, I would be expecting him to be bagging goals in Europa League when we're coming up against smaller clubs. I really want Ronaldo to do well, but sometimes you're thinking, you know, is it best for him to part ways? Because we won 3-2. We had, you know, Rashford came on with a good cameo, Martial came on with a good cameo, but then we're still talking about Cristiano Ronaldo because he missed so many chances. And then if he didn't play, people would be like, oh, why didn't Ronaldo play? These are the games he's going to play. He's going to start in the Europa League games for us. Is there an argument where, oh, he shouldn't be starting on the weekend against Everton, he shouldn't be starting in the Premier League? That's a conversation to be had. But today's game, he looked better than how he was performing in the last games. But in terms of Ronaldo standards, he wasn't at his best today. And I don't know. I think Ten Hag is starting to see that too.
Do you feel like we were accommodating him at points there? Because especially towards the end of the game, it did feel like, got to get the ball to Ronaldo, got to square it to Ronaldo. We were, you know, almost Rashford, I think, missed up a chance to put it in the back of net to give it to Ronaldo. Do we have a danger of trying to accommodate him too much in matches like today?
I don't know, because you see, he did it. I think he had an assist where it was like a deflected shot. He got the assist, but his presence was making a difference today, which allowed Rashford and Martial and other players, Bruno, Eriksen and Anthony, to get into pockets of space, which I think it actually caused one of the goals. I can't remember if it was Rashford's or Martial's, but he came out wide, took 2, maybe even 3 defenders with him, which allowed the player to get, I think it was Rashford's one, allowed him to get a nice, great shot on target. Are we accommodating him? Yes, but I feel like even with Anthony squaring it today to Bruno, players are trying to go for the easy option. In situations like that where you square it or take a shot, you're always going to square it. Whether it's Ronaldo there, whether it's someone else there, it doesn't matter. I think in the last game, we were trying to accommodate him. We were just whipping balls into the box in the last Europa League game. Today, you saw a lot more possession-based football. We saw a lot of passing, one-touch passing, people getting into space, people moving around. He was moving around. Rashford was, but Sancho, who I think even like Sancho and Malacia coming off at half-time showed that Erik ten Hag was disappointed with the left-hand side. And I was too, because that first goal we conceded came from there, but then even the chances that we were creating, a lot of it was actually coming quite often from the middle or from the right-hand side. And when we changed that left-hand side, the whole game changed for us. Rashford and Luke Shaw have that link-up where, Luke Shaw overlaps. And we saw Rashford waiting for that overlap today, and Luke Shaw came with it and actually put a ball into the box, and it just got cleared out. I think I'm tired of this Ronaldo thing. Like I said it last time, I'm actually tired of talking about the Ronaldo thing. I think it's best to part ways, but people, in a game like this, I expect Ronaldo to score. Like I expect him, and those chances, I don't know if it was just unlucky chances, but how can you get unlucky 5-6 times?
Talk to me about Rashford, because Rashford came on, really changed the game along with Martial. And look, this season he's played very well. He got Player of the Month for September in the Premier League. Gets a goal again tonight. Where do you think he's going to be the most effective? Is it he's played as striker, but are we going to see him get more goals if he's starting off that left-hand side? Yeah,
I want to see him starting on the left. I think him playing up top, we've seen him being like the last man up top. We saw it with Arsenal. We saw it. He actually scored. But I think with the way Sancho's form is looking right now, I know Rashford's licking his lips and thinking, yeah, I'm going to get into that spot. Because we even saw it with the chances he was creating today, but except for the one, obviously, that he scored, but he created a chance for Ronaldo. It was him coming off that left-hand side. He even took on his man where he does that stupid kick and run after the ball thing that I used to hate. But today he beat his man with that, and it's more easier for him to do it on the wing. I think we might get the best out of Rashford on the left if Malacia is able to, build that collaboration and that link up with him, similar to what he has with Luke Shaw. Him and Anthony have a great understanding. Martial, Anthony Martial, they got a great understanding. They got a great understanding, and if Martial is going to play up top as a 9, and Rashford is going to play on the left, and Brazilian Anthony on the right, I think that could work. I would actually expect to see that against Everton this weekend.
Lindelof was in defence today with Martinez. As you mentioned, in transition again, we look vulnerable. How much of that is a concern going forward, that essentially the same mistakes we saw against City were repeated tonight? When we have a lot of the ball, we're conceding goals in transition. When we don't have a lot of the balls, we're conceding goals in transition. What did you make of that partnership between Lindelof and Martinez?
Listen, I don't expect Lindelof to come into that partnership and be, a Cafu or like just an amazing centre-back. But today he did look a bit out of it. Dalot was covering for him a few times. Casemiro was dropping in for him for a few times. And Martinez was covering for him for a few times. Bear in mind, Lindelof was probably our best centre-back when it was him and Maguire playing together. I'm not going to be too critical of him because he's not had a great run of consistent football. And if I'm going to judge a player, I'm going to judge it based on consistent football games that he had. Same with like Casemiro. I'm not going to judge him and be critical of him because he's not seen full 90 minutes consistently for the team. But with Varane out and Lindelof having this opportunity to step in, and even Maguire being injured as well, Lindelof and Martinez is what we're going to see quite often, and we're going to need him to step up. We're going to need him to be effective. We're going to need him to lead from the back, because whether you're captain or not, your commanding line is your two centre backs. That's where the leadership starts from. Your leadership starts from your goalkeeper. So we need that from Lindelof, especially playing next to Martinez and Dalot and Malacia / Shaw, whoever plays on the left. Today he did make a questionable slide tackle, which he thought he could have won. I'm not gonna discredit him for that because it's just a mistake that he made. But I'm definitely thinking he'll learn from it, because he's looking at this thinking, yeah, I'm getting consistent game time now with Varane out and with Maguire out, so he has to capitalise on that, and we need to be able to rely on our second string players.
Absolutely, there you go. Omonia 2, Manchester United 3 points in the Europa League. On to Everton on Sunday.